Hi folks, Marvin Forte here, KFNW Director. I'm here to go over tour event number 5 on the Upper Willamette River with you. If you go to our website and go to the tournament detail page, you'll find it under Tournaments, Schedule, then click on the Upper Willamette River and that'll take you to this page that I'm on right here. Scroll down, there's a little info about the Willamette. One little piece of info that's really good here is the boundaries for this event. It's approximately 4,900 acres of water and 56 miles of shoreline. So we've got a lot of water for the people that are signed up. We've got 45 signed up at the moment, and there's one more that I know is asked about signing up late, so I think we'll end up with at least 46 unless we get somebody else that signs up in the next couple of days. About 5 of these folks are new to us. This is their first event with us, or maybe their first live event with us at least. So I do want to go over some of the details with you and make sure everybody's up to speed. Tournament schedule is on this page, so take a look at that. Off-limits period is over, so we are now in the official practice period. If you are getting out on the water in this section of water, you need to be fishing between 5:45 a.m. and 2:45 p.m. Not earlier, not later. Got to be within that window that you're pre-fishing. We're going to do the live pre-event briefing on Friday at 6:30 p.m. That is going to be at Rogers Landing, like up in the parking area there. This is mandatory that you come to that, and especially those new folks who have not fished with us before, you really need to come to that. We've got some information down here about some of the stuff we're going to go over in that. Where is it here? Passed right by it. So you can bring your liability waiver release to that. You need to bring your bump board. You have to bring your bump board. We're going to check them. Please make sure they're clean and dry. If you've got a sticker from one of our previous events, one of the little colored stickers, go ahead and remove that. And we'll put a new one on when we check your board out. You will have a chance to ask questions at that briefing as well. It is mandatory. If you can't come, if you absolutely can't for some reason, like you can't get out of work, something like that, then the only way out of that is you've got to get somebody else to bring your bump board and somebody else to bring your waiver. You can email the waiver to me. That's not a big deal. But somebody needs to bring your bump board, or what you can do is if there's somebody that you know fishing the tournament that has a spare bump board, you can tell them, I'm going to use your spare for this event, and they can bring their spare board. We'll put the sticker on it, and you can use that on tournament day. With the amount of water that's on this and the amount of distance, it takes about 45 minutes to get from the downstream boundary to the upstream boundary. So there's really no way we could do a morning meeting on Saturday with all those different launches and that much water. We'd have to meet an hour and a half before sunrise, which would be kind of ridiculous, and we'd all be rushed to get it done. These Friday meetings have been a lot better in terms of getting all the stuff we need to get done, all the paperwork taken care of. So we do need you to come to that, but there is an out for those, especially those who fished with us before, to get out if they absolutely can't make it. So let's see. Newbies, read the rules. That's on the website as well under Resources, KFNW Rules Standard. That's it right here. You need to have, you need to have an Oregon license to fish this event. We've got information right here under the boundaries. You need to have an Oregon license. You need to have a waterway access permit. All those details are spelled out right here. If you have a motor on your boat and you're from Oregon, then your AIS permit is covered. If you don't, you need to buy that AIS permit. And if you're from out of state, right here, then you need to buy either the motorized AIS permit or the regular AIS permit. All the information about pricing and buying those is on the ODFW site. Or the Marine Board site for registration, that sort of stuff. But the waterway access permit and the fishing license, that's all on ODFW, Fish and Wildlife. So make sure you've got all your licensing in order. We're not going to check those licenses, but if for some reason you don't have your license, if you get stopped by the sheriff out there and they find that you don't have a license or you don't have your waterway access permit, that's going to get you DQ'd from the event. So make sure you've got all that covered. Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about boundaries. So we're fishing the main body of the river, obviously. The upstream boundary is San Salvador boat launch, conditions permitting. So let me zoom in on the map and show you where that is. This map doesn't show it, but that is San Salvador. This pin right here is San Salvador Beach and boat ramp. So it's going to depend on the conditions. I've got a couple of people that are going to be pre-fishing. They're going to check it out. And I'm going to try and get out there to check it out in the next couple of days as well. Sometimes there's too much current in here and we just don't feel like it's a real safe launch, especially for newer anglers. And so much current that if you were to launch here, it'd push you downstream. You wouldn't be able to get back to the launch. So you'd basically have to do a float and you'd have to coordinate that with somebody and have a ferry to pick you up and all that kind of stuff. So we'll check it out. And if we feel like it's too much current, what we usually do then is make the boundary the mouth of the Yamhill. So you can fish all around the Yamhill. You can get up into the Yamhill a little bit, and you can go just past the mouth. But anything beyond that or beyond up here, those fish will be denied if you're fishing up there. And the launch, furthermost launch we'd be doing then would be Rogers Landing, which is where we're doing the meeting. So we'll go over all that on Friday, and we'll know for sure which one of these two it's going to be. But they are both described here. I did update that. I realized there was a little mistake. I had the boundary for one and the launch for the other, so it was a little confusing. But I've fixed that now, where its upstream boundary is San Salvador or Rogers Landing. Okay, let's see. And then on the bottom end, it's Bernard Landing Boat Ramp, which is at Willamette Park in West Lynn. So let's scroll down there. I guess I should have zoomed out. It's a little too far. There we go. Okay, so here's Bernard Landing right here. If you have fished other events, this is usually where we have done the pre-event briefing and the awards, is right here by Bernard Landing. That's the location we're talking about. You cannot go past the Bernard Landing boat ramp and launch and like the docks there. Do not go anywhere further downstream of that. A short ways past that and you're into Willamette Falls, where somebody just died recently, taking a kayak down there, and they went too far and went down the falls at night and died. So that's why we cut it off here. We just don't want anybody even going past the launch. There's not a lot of current in this area. There's a little bit of current, but it's very easy to pedal or paddle or motor upstream from this area. So you're not going to get swept down the waterfall. But if you stay here, you're plenty far enough away from it. You can fish the mouth of the Tualatin here. You wouldn't be able to get a kayak really past this bridge anyway. So yeah, all this is open if you want to fish in there. That's not a problem. And any of the little tributaries that you can get into, that's fine too. Just be careful of current, like the Malala River. I show it sort of cut off here because right around there it gets into sort of some rapids, and you wouldn't really be able to go upstream there. But you can get into the mouth of it there and fish in the mouth as long as it's navigable by kayak. That's not a problem. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about some safety regulations. So in the morning, we're going to be launching in fairly dark conditions for this one. You need to have an overhead 360 light on your kayak. What most of us have is a Yak Attack Visicarbon Pro, which has a little light on it, and it's about 3 feet high, so it's over your head. So it is overhead, and it shines in all directions. A headlamp won't cut it. That's not good enough. That's not 360. That's one direction, or it's maybe 60 degrees or 90 degrees. It's not 360 degrees. You need something that anyone can see you from any angle that they are away from you. If you don't have that, then you're going to have to wait until first light and until sunrise, really, to take off. So be sure you're prepared with that. You need to have a high visibility flag. We do have event flags, yellow event flags. Those are not required in Oregon. They're required in Washington. But if you have them, we recommend you use it that day. So bring that with you. But if you don't, just any high visibility flag is fine. An orange flag, a bright yellow flag, whatever you've got. You need to have a whistle, some kind of sound device, but a whistle is what most of us have attached to our PFD. That's state regulation as well. And you need to have a PFD, and you got to be wearing that PFD. It has to be a vest type PFD. It can't be a belt type. It can be an inflatable. It should be an auto inflate, not a manual inflate if it is inflatable. We prefer the solid foam PFDs over an inflatable because if you haven't changed your cartridge, it might not inflate. So that's why we prefer the solid ones. The only exception to having to wear that the entire time you're out there is if you need to change clothing. If you've got a jacket on, you need to take it off, something like that. That's fine. What you need to do in that case is stop fishing, put your rod down, take the PFD off, take the jacket off, or do whatever clothing change you need to do. Put the PFD back on, fasten it, pick up your rod, and you can start fishing again. No problem with that. If we catch you with a PFD off and you're out there fishing or something with no PFD, that's an immediate DQ. You're out of the tournament for that day. These other regulations, the 360 light, the flag, if we see you without those, we're going to tell you that you need to have those. You need to get that fixed right away. If you choose not to fix it after we've told you that, or after somebody else has told you that, then you're going to get DQ'd. But you basically have to ignore what we're telling you to get DQ'd for those. They're really just a safety precaution that we want to be sure everybody has. Let's see. We talked a little bit about waiver. If you get a chance, go ahead and print out the waiver from this page. I had a link right here to it, but there's one down here. Just click on the liability release here. Print that out. The motor inspection, if you're running a motor, as long as you're using a standard, one of the more standard kayak motors and a standard OEM type mount, we're not too concerned about that. If you're running a Newport NK300 or NK180 Pro and you're using their stock mount, that's fine. That we don't really need to inspect that. You do need to be sure your battery is secured. Make sure it's strapped down or in a box or something where it can't move around because that throws off the balance of your kayak. It can be a little bit dangerous, especially at those big motors. If you're using a XI3 bow mounted, that's fine. We're not going to have to look at that. But if you've got any sort of DIY setup or something that you've built yourself, we're going to want to inspect that on Friday. So if you feel like that might be the case, you might want to call me or Matthew Burdick. Our info is right down here at the bottom of the page. You might want to give one of us a call or a text message or something and check with us. Make sure that you're not going to need an inspection, because if you do need an inspection, you're going to need to bring your kayak and set it up there at Rogers Landing on Friday so that we can check it out. Okay, we talked about that. We talked about boundaries. So there are largemouth and smallmouth in this river. You're going to see mostly smallmouth, but certain areas, there are a significant number of largemouth. And our big bass of the year last year, let's see, we've got that info right up here. Jonathan Bush caught a 19.5-inch largemouth in this same section of river. So they're up there for sure. Current. Let's talk about current, because you heard me say some things about current up here. The further up you go, the more current there's going to be. So this section, there can be quite a bit of current. In this section through here around Rogers Landing, there's not a ton of current, but you can get into certain places, especially like where there's a river bend or something, where their current does push, and you'll find a place where there is significant current, but it's just little patches, and you'll get through them, and then it's no problem to go around that and come back. If you need to pedal or paddle back up to the launch from there, you won't have any trouble doing that. And that's true of really everything else. The mouth of the Molalla, there'll be current there. The Molalla River will be dumping in, so there may be current there. We haven't had a lot of rain recently, so I don't expect even the tributaries shouldn't be cranking very much. But we'll find out when we get out there. Let's see. So at the last event we had up at Lake Whatcom, we had a few complaints about people crowding other anglers. Not a huge problem on this section of river because it's so much water, but there are some places that people tend to want to congregate. They're looking for fish in those areas that they've fished before and they know where they are. If you get there first, then you have rights to that area. That's the way it works. And the etiquette is, if somebody's there before you, you don't just come up and get on top of them and start casting right next to them or in the area that they're fishing. That's not cool. That can get you DQ'd if it's bad enough, if you're really doing it and ignoring what the other angler is telling you and what we've told you. My advice is, if you're getting anywhere close to another angler, is talk to them. Just ask them. Say, hey, what direction are you fishing? Well, are you moving? Are you staying put where you're at? Where can I fish around you that's okay? And most of us will be really nice about that and tell you, okay, here, this is what I'm doing. So if you want to go that way, I'm going this way, whatever it is. But just have a conversation about it instead of assuming and going ahead and casting and encroaching on somebody else. You really shouldn't be able to cast your line into somebody else's line. You need to be far enough away that even if you cast right at them, you wouldn't be able to reach their line if they're casting right at you. So depending on how far you can cast, that's, something like at least 40 yards, something like that. You really should stay that far away from people if you can. And of course, if you want to fish with somebody, that's not a problem. If you're fishing with somebody and the two of you don't care that you're fishing close to each other, that's not a problem. It's not like you have to stay a certain distance from people. It's really just sort of an etiquette sort of thing. Look out for each other out there on the water. There is some current in places, and there's places you can get hit a sandbar or something in the current and, lose some gear or fall out of your kayak. It's unlikely, but it is possible. So you need to keep your eyes and your ears open for whatever everybody else around you is doing. And if you hear somebody get into trouble, hear them fall out of their kayak or hollering or blowing their whistle, stop what you're doing, put your rods down, and haul ass over there and get to them to give them a hand. We've had that happen a few times in events. Not every event, but once in a while, once every handful of events, somebody may fall out, especially if they're not familiar with the area or if they're new to kayaking. So get over there and give them a hand and make sure that we're all taking care of each other. If you need to leave early, this is a really important one that I want to be sure everybody hears. If you need to leave early, that's okay. But you've got to understand that, number one, it's going to be a DQ. So if you've got fish on the board and you're going to leave early, you're going to lose those fish. You're going to be removed from the leaderboard and they're not going to count. That may not matter to you. If you haven't caught any or you've only got one little fish or something, you may not care. But I just want to be sure everybody understands that. And no matter what, if you're going to leave early, it's a must that you contact Matthew Burdick or myself and let us know that you're leaving early. Because what we're going to do is we're going to get to the awards at the end of the day. First thing we're going to do is check everybody in and make sure everybody's there. And if somebody's missing, we're going to stop the awards. We're going to try and call you. If we can't get a hold of you, we might call your whoever you've got listed as your emergency contact and ask if they've heard from you. We're going to call emergency services and get people out there on the water looking for you. We're going to stop the awards. we're going to hop in our vehicles and we're going to go looking for you. So don't do that. Don't leave just because you haven't had a good day and not tell us and put us in a kind of an uproar and mess up everybody's day. So yeah, just be sure and let us know if you are going to leave early. Also, be sure you have arrived at the awards on time. If you are 15 seconds late to the awards, you are late, and that's a DQ. So that time's right up here. There it is, 3:45, award ceremony and gear drawing at Rogers Landing. You've got to be right there where we are. You can't be parking your vehicle or just down the street. At the moment that we are doing check-in and we ask you if you're there, if you're not there, then you're going to get DQ'd. So just be careful about that. We don't want to DQ people. If for some reason you can't make it there, let's say you had vehicle trouble or something and you called us and all that, by all means, come in late. Your fish aren't going to count for that, but you can still do the gear drawing if you just had to be late for some reason, because like I said, car trouble, something like that. Come on, and if you can get there eventually, come on over and you can still be in the gear drawing and you might win some cool prizes. We've got some amazing prizes for this event. Okay, that just takes us to photos, especially for those newbies. You'll want to look here at the photo standards, and probably nothing is more illustrative than this illustration that really shows you what we're expecting in these fish photos. Your hand can be anywhere between these two red lines. It can't be covering the eye here, and it can't be back on the tail fin, back in here. So keep your hand in this space, but make sure your hand is very clear of this gill flap. Don't put your hand right up alongside the gill flap. We've had to deny fish because of this. Somebody's got their hand close, and then the fish wiggles or starts to flop, and they push down their hand a little bit more, and all of a sudden their sun glove, or their hand is just a little bit under the gill flap there, and the fish gets denied. So what I recommend, you can put your hand up here on top of the gill flap. That's totally fine. So I recommend you either put your hand on top of the gill flap, or if you're going to put it back here, put it like behind this pectoral fin. Put it back here so that it's really clear of the gill flap, and you're not going to get in trouble because of that. You can't cover any of the eye. Don't put your hand like here, and then if it's your right hand here, and then have your thumb sticking way out over here over the mouth and stuff. That's not good. Don't do that. Make sure nothing is going past the eye, and nothing's going past the fleshy part of the tail here. I guess the last part of photos to talk about is the mouth. Make sure the mouth is absolutely closed, shut, solid. If it's got a crack in it, you're going to lose a half an inch. And if it's wide open, which we occasionally will see, you're going to lose that half an inch. And if it continues, there could be further repercussions for that. We may take more than a half inch or deny a fish because the mouth is just too wide open that we can't really trust the measurement. The tail, you can manipulate the tail. You can kind of turn the tail or sort of pinch the tail and open up the tail. Just make sure when you take the photo, your hand's not touching the tail, that it's back here on the fleshy part. I think that is just about it. Weather looks really good. Really all week if you're pre-fishing. There's very little wind, anywhere from 1 to 7 miles an hour. So not bad. A little breeze, which is good. Temperatures look good, mostly in the 60s and 70s. So water temp should be fairly high. But yeah, looks great. I don't see any caution on weather. I think we're going to be good. No real chance of rain. A little cloudy this part of the week, and this earlier part of the week. And then towards the weekend, sunny with very little clouds. Bring your sunscreen. I think that's about it. If you have any questions between now and Friday, feel free to reach out to Matthew Burdick or myself. Otherwise, we'll see you on Friday at the meeting, and you can ask questions there. I'll also have some merch for sale at the meeting and at the awards. We've got hats, we've got hoodies, we've got stickers. I've got one catchboard. Unless somebody bought it already, I've got one catchboard left. So if you need a catchboard, hit me up for that as well. Otherwise, I'll see you Friday, and have a great week.
What matters to you? Commitment, dedication, precision, connection. Catching fish? Good. That matters to us too.